Ladies and gentlemen, get excited and get ready. You're about to be motivated and inspired as you hear from other show business professionals and high-achieving business professionals throughout the business community. All walks of life give you insight, leadership, motivation, and how they overcame obstacles. Game up and get ready for motivation and show business. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new show of Motivation and Show Business. I am your host here, comedy magician Dewayne Hill. I would like to thank my lovely co-host and special guest for this taping, Mr. Roy Schindele. Mr. Roy, say hello and what's up to the audience, please.
How are you? Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be with you.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Roy, how have things been going, man? You've transitioned. You were in a structured job for a while, and I think our last interaction, you've kind of went out on your own, right?
Yep. Well, I spent 14 years working for Mr. Arnold Palmer. It was quite an honor. At Bay Hill in Orlando, and did his sales and marketing there, some branding. And recently started my own consulting company, RDS Advisors, and got picked up by the Future family, which owns a beautiful resort called the Mission Inn Resort and Club in Howie in the Foothills as their acting director of sales and marketing. So far so good. Also doing hotel shopping for private owners of resorts, critiquing their services and all kinds of odds and ends. But it was a little scary at first, but find it quite liberating at this point.
Well, let's talk about that. You've known me for a while and know that I've made the plunge, and me being self-employed and a business owner I don't know any other way. What was it like for you to transition? Well, let me ask you this. How long did it take you to kind of pull the trigger on that? To really, you were sitting on how long were you on the fence about doing it versus not doing it?
Yeah. Well, a little further in my background, I have previously owned my own companies as well. Okay. So although this is a new venture, it's not foreign to me. So I would imagine that made it a little bit easier. However, I'm not as young as I used to be.
Yeah.
And there comes a point in life where, you kind of value security and comfort and all this until you read the story about Kentucky Fried Chicken. He didn't start until he was well in his 50s.
Yeah.
And created an empire. So there's plenty of examples and role models and success stories that sort of help me say, hey, I'm not too old. I can do this. I can take my wealth of life experience and snowball it into something that's going to be fantastic. So the overall thinking process actually began after Mr. Palmer passed, which was 4 years ago. And at that point, I very much valued my security with the family, my position, and I also felt the tremendous responsibility to continue on Mr. Palmer's legacy. So full stop on thinking going on my own, but that's kind of where it started. It's like, what's going to happen? There was that moment of insecurity where the spark, was sort of lit. And then it sort of matured. And I think some of the best things happen when you're not necessarily looking for them. Things kind of fall into place, meeting the right people at the right time, getting the right encouragement. You see sort of things coming together from that standpoint. And it literally took that long. But even with Mission Inn, I knew the former director of sales. He was planning to retire. He told me that a year and a half before he was retiring.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of a natural chain of events that I met the owners, and it just came together. It made sense for everybody, and off we went. And I did it then, decided then that was the way I wanted to do it, was as my own independent company.
Backing up, when you mentioning Mr. Palmer, I mean, there's the business part of this podcast. There's a lot of corporate people that golf and think. Can you talk a little bit about what was it like working that close to someone that iconic in golf and being at Bay Hill? And first talk about the interaction you had with Mr. Palmer and
yeah. He was there. He was very hands-on. very active in the company and the club. And we took care of Bay Hill for him, and we also took care of Latrobe Country Club, which were basically his two homes.
Yeah.
And as far as, branding, as far as things with his name on it, interacting with the tour operators, booking the rooms, booking golf, I had my hand in all that. And it's probably, one of the most precious 14 years in my professional career to have been with Mr. Palmer, and I learned a lot. Everything you ever heard about the guy doesn't do him justice. He was so nice. He was so engaging, so charismatic, so down to earth. It was mind blowing to see how people interacted with him.
Yeah.
And even when I first met him, it's awe, and my awe turned very quickly into respect and just took it in like a sponge. I mean, he came from a rural little town in Pennsylvania, Latrobe. He grew up, in fact, one of his classmates was Mr. Rogers. Cool.
Okay.
But they were just salt of the earth people, and he never seemed to lose that charm. He gave everybody the time they deserved. He never forgot that he was who he was because of the fans. And he tried to teach even the young guys coming up in the PGA that kind of philosophy.
Right.
If you ever have seen Mr. Palmer's autograph, it's always perfect, legible, fantastic. No matter how busy he was, no matter where he was going, what he was doing, if he was going to autograph something, it was going to be perfect. And his reason was that if the kid wanted his autograph, it was his responsibility to do it in such a way that this kid could go and show it to his friends and unmistakably be identified as Mr. Palmer's signature versus just a chicken scratch that anybody could emulate. So he was very conscious about that. He was conscious about taking care of the people who took care of him, and that reflected in many ways. There were a lot of people like me at Bay Hill who were there for over a decade or two because of the way he treated people, including his employees, his customers. He treated everybody the same.
That's great. Didn't he, speaking about his signature, I just thought about this, thinking about like the can that I've seen, in the convenience stores, the Arnold Palmer iced tea, what is it, iced tea and lemonade mix, right?
Yes.
Did he trademark his signature?
Oh, that formula is his.
No, I mean his actual signature. I know the NASCAR driver tried to do that before he passed, Dale Earnhardt, like his signature, because people were, I thought, did he not trademark his autograph?
I can't tell you for sure. I don't know. It would, it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Okay.
It's so iconic. So certainly.
I mean, and like what you said, I mean, it's so recognizable the way he did it, because he did it the exact same way. When the tour puts it up on the screen and you see it on the beverage cans, or you see it on things, and when I've performed at Bay Hill, immediately you just know immediately what it is. So but I mean that's a real smart way of doing. I mean, I'm very guilty. I've signed my name so many times that I've got my way that I do it. I know what it is. People that know me know what it is, but is it readable? I don't know if I'm not. I need to be more diligent about doing that, because that's definitely a good way of looking at it. I never thought of it like that. For sure. Yeah.
And he thought of many of his business relationships and even doing deals. He did handshake deals. I mean, he started IMG, the professional athlete management company, on a handshake.
Wow.
He did so many things that way. I mean, let's face it, contracts are things to argue about, right? Handshakes, if you're an honorable person, is your bond.
Yeah.
Your word is your bond. And Mr. Palmer came from that era where if he said we were going to do something, you could take that to the bank. And it's a rarity sometimes today, but it's still very refreshing to especially have someone at that level be so diligent and so to his word. Again, as an example to younger people, that's important.
Right. Now let me ask you this question: Did you ever see? I mean, what I saw, and other people. It's hard to really believe it's been 4 years. It just felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember calling you when I saw the news. Like, I can't believe it's that much time's passed that fast. But what I've seen of him, just what I saw when he do the interviews and the smiling and stuff on television, working when he behind the scenes like that. Did you ever see him angry?
I mean, not angry in the way you or I might get angry.
Okay.
And I'm sure he had his moments, but things didn't always go our way in business or in life.
Yeah.
So
probably more annoyed than.
Yeah, and I think he knew too that he spent his whole life knowing he was being watched.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes. So I think that became second nature too. Not to, he'd never been on the cover of the Inquirer. He never,
Wow.
Look at professional athletes today acting out in public and stuff. I think he was very disciplined in the way he conducted his life. He was very even-keeled, and I just don't think anybody, if maybe the family and private, may have seen other things, but so far as what my interaction was with him was always just, wow, just always exceeded what I ever thought of him or a person in his position to be.
Now, when you said how other athletes are acting in modern times, the guys on the tours, you being around them, a lot of those cats live in Orlando too, so I'm sure when they're not practicing in Isleworth or Nona, they come over and scratch out a few rounds or something at Bay Hill. Not asking you to name any names, but most of the, because I perform for some of those guys. Most of those people, are there some that you can think of that are like they were unnecessarily diva when it came to?
Oh yes. And I can't name names, but I could probably write a book about the behind the scenes of some of the antics and things that I've seen and witnessed, not just from professional athletes, but politicians. Right across the spectrum. There's always that select few that do different things.
Yeah, I performed at I think it was Fontainebleau in Miami, and I was talking to the concierge, and the concierge had said they were thinking about one of those confessions of a concierge. She didn't say who the rapper was. I knew who it was, but she said we get a request at 1 o'clock in the morning. They want a monkey,
right?
for a crazy video that they want to shoot on their iPhone. They want a monkey at 1 o'clock in the morning, and if we don't get them a monkey, they're going to get ticked off. And
right.
was there did you feel like there were any of the PGA of these tour cats? Was there any unreasonable requests that came like that?
Whether the request came or not, because of who we are, we didn't necessarily have to always honor them.
Yeah.
We acted in a Palmer-esque manner, and we're always polite, and hospitality, customer service is always important. But we always consider our other guests as well. So that's a tough question. That's a tough question to answer
diplomatically.
In a substantive way, yes.
So let's move on to sales, man. You
Sure.
being in sales as long as, what are some key factors to making really good sales? What do you think the top 3 or 4 key factors are?
It kind of goes in hand with brand and marketing, right?
Yeah.
So if people don't know about you, it's hard to sell them you or your product. I work for the Butcher family, and talk about another iconic family. I'm so blessed to be transitioning from the Palmers to the Butchers. They own a resort. It's over 1,000 acres. Has a golf course that is over 103 years old. It's missioninresort.com. If anybody wants to check it out, it's amazing. It was just voted number 3 course in Orlando. It's voted one of the top 100 courses in the world. So it has a fantastic reputation. And the family is just as stellar as Mr. Palmer in their way they conduct business, honorable, reputable, just wonderful, wonderful people. And part of the challenge is how do you tell people about Mission Inn? So I've invited some people that I've known for decades. One is a retired 2-star general. He plays almost at least 280 rounds of golf a year. He's played in pro-ams all over the world. And he was one of the first people I invited down to come play the course because I wanted his honest, unbiased assessment of the course for my own benefit.
Yeah.
And when I told him where I was, where I wanted him to stay, he said, "Where is this? Why haven't I heard about this?" And when he stood on the balcony overlooking the course, he was, absolutely miffed why he did not know about Mission Inn and how beautiful it was. So for me, from a sales and marketing standpoint, I was elated because I knew, hey, I had something wonderful, and I know my ability to get the word out. And the combination of the two, since nobody knew and it's so wonderful, the results will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? I have a nice example, and it's a very simple way of looking at it.
Okay.
I can do the exercise with you real quick to sort of show the example.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer the question as quickly as you can with as many answers as you can.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
And after the first one, you'll get what I'm talking about, and we'll do like one or two, and then I'll make my point. So tell me as many clothes designers or manufacturers as you can. Very quickly. Rattle them off.
Tommy Hilfiger, Louis Vuitton, Versace, clothes design, Gucci. I'm thinking about a lot of rap stuff. So
okay, all right, and that's enough. Okay, so now let's go on to let's do shoe manufacturers real quick.
So Nike, Reebok, Adidas.
Okay, and we could do this all day long. And if I was in a bar, I could make a lot of money doing it because every person, and you did it just classically there with the shoes. After the third thing, you say And in sales and marketing, if you look at it like a big tall ladder, right? Because there's obviously hundreds of shoe manufacturers, hundreds of clothes manufacturers. If you're not on the top 3 rungs, you're an and you're not going to get the business. So the challenge is how do you get in the top 3 of someone's mind? And that's where the marketing strategies come into place. There's so many ways of getting word out there. There's so many people, so many markets. How do you do it? What's your budget, right?
Yeah.
So in my case, like with Mission Inn, all right, let's use golf as an example. So if I'm bidding on AdWords in Google, do I bid on Florida golf courses? I don't have enough money to be in the top 3. Right?
Yeah.
Do I bet on Orlando golf courses? Now we're cutting it down a little, right?
Yeah.
Do I do historic Orlando golf courses? What I do is I boil it down to the lowest common denominator that I can afford to own. And instead of maybe 2 million people clicking on Florida golf and, 600,000 clicking on Orlando golf, maybe there's 1,000 looking for historic golf. I can own them. I can own that market. I can be number 1.
I see.
And that's where I focus my time, energy, and marketing dollars.
Gotcha.
And it's very strategically, you have to look then, and there's geographic markets, there's demographics, there's, all kinds of things. And golf is just one example. We have a 176-room hotel. We have 4 restaurants. We have skeet shooting. We have boat rentals. We have tennis. We have so many things there. It's amazing. each one is a profit center, and each one needs attention and marketing, and that's when it becomes fun and three-dimensional. But my example gives you a little snapshot of what's important and how to sort of filter down through the noise to get to a place where you can win.
Well, and it was funny you said it, because when you said that Mission Hills was voted, what did you say, third for Orlando?
Third best golf course in Orlando, yep.
The first one I thought of, I went Islesworth.
Nope.
Bay Hill.
Not on the list.
Islesworth, not on the list. I went Islesworth, Bay Hill.
Not on the list.
How can Bay Hill not be on that list?
Isn't it funny that the place I'm at's on the list? Must have a good marketing guy.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I mean, you had, I think, the Waldorf, the Four Seasons. They were ahead of us, and then there were a bunch of them behind us. But again, to be a epic world class course, we have all the bells and whistles.
I didn't even know all that was at Mission Hills. Even I didn't know that.
Mission Inn.
I'm sorry.
Mission Inn Resort and Club.
I didn't even know that.
You're going to have to come up and perform.
Well,
that's the way we can get you to check it out.
Well, that will happen for sure. When it comes to golf tournaments, we're going to have some of these corporate people, corporate executives. They're going to participate in scrambles and charity scrambles. Are there any tips you can give people that are organizing their own charity, like nonprofits, or they're organizing a charity golf tournament? You running it, I mean, it doesn't get any higher than a tour. And I know, the Bay Hill was always top 5 most played tournaments in the entire tour. Every pro wants to play that tournament.
Absolutely, and Mr. Palmer donated all the money to the Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children in Orlando.
Right.
So it was a great philanthropic endeavor. But on a smaller scale, I run one in September for the Club Managers Association. I rotated through several different clubs. We had it at Isleworth, Lake Nona, Interlock, and Bay Hill, Country Club of Orlando. And in fact, next year, it's going to be at Mission Inn.
Yes,
And it's going to be, what's that Monday? I think September 14th.
Yeah, let me know.
Monday, September 14th.
Let me know when that is. I need to know. I need to get that on my calendar now.
That's the date. You can mark it down right now.
Okay, all right.
And it's going to be a fantastic outing. You can play on El Campeon course. It's that 103-roll course. People are going to know. The ones I've spoke to are going to.
If you enjoyed the show and you would like to be a co-host or like to be an interviewee, please write us and let us know. Go to DewayneHill.com or pickacardpro.com. Thank you for listening. Post editing by Logan Dunbar. Sound supervisor by Logan Dunbar. Additional editing by Gabriel Britori. Thank you for listening. For more information, go to DewayneHill.com or pickacardpro.com.